An MVP candidate just set the worst three-game playoff turnover record in 49 NBA seasons. 24 turnovers, 3 games, the most by any player in a postseason span since the league started tracking turnovers in 1977. Twitter says he is melting. The chalkboard says he is alone. The 8-seed Orlando Magic just took a 3-1 lead over the 1-seed Detroit Pistons. They did it by sending 2 and 3 defenders at Cade Cunningham on every possession. Detroit cannot punish the help rotation because there is nobody on the floor to punish it. Orlando found the one number that beats the top seed. They have run it 3 games in a row. Game 2, April 22nd, Amway Center, Orlando down 1-0 in the series. The Magic shift off the standard drop coverage that lost them Game 1. They start sending a second defender on every Cade Cunningham screen action. Coaches call it load-up help, 2 on the ball. A load-up is when the help defender does not just rotate on the catch, he leaves his man early. Before the screen even arrives, he stands in the gap. It dares the offense to pass to the open man. Against most playoff teams, that pass is a death sentence for the defense. The open man punishes it, the defense pays. Against Detroit, the pass is to a player who is not a primary scorer. Orlando is gambling that the pass off Cunningham is worth less than the shot from Cunningham. That gamble is a stat read, not a feel read. The Magic ran the numbers and decided that everybody on Detroit's roster who is not Cunningham is a worse problem than Cunningham himself. Cunningham does not adjust in real time. He keeps trying to make the inside read. The second defender takes the ball. The cumulative Game 2 through Game 4 turnover total of 24 begins here. Multiple Cunningham giveaways, multiple drives into the second defender. Detroit's listed second leading creators have no offensive gravity. The corners do not move Orlando. The roll men do not threaten the rim. Cade Cunningham carries Detroit's entire offensive load. The next highest Piston creator is at a fraction of that load. So Orlando sends the help defender. Every possession, they are not gambling, they are reading a chart. The chart says Detroit funnels every set to one player. The chart says nobody else punishes the help. The chalkboard before Game 3 reads this way for Orlando: run it harder. Game 3, April 25th, 2 nights later. Orlando escalates. They go from 2 on the ball to a 3-defender rotation on every Cunningham drive that touches the paint. The on-ball defender, a load-up help in the gap, and a low-tag defender ready at the roll. This is no longer a coverage. This is a designed pressure release. Cunningham's passing windows shrink to 2 reads, the corner, or a recovering big. Both are the worst percentage shots on the floor. The reason it works is roster, not psychology. A Luka Doncic has a Kyrie. A Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has a Jalen Williams. A Nikola Jokic has a Jamal Murray. Cade Cunningham swings the ball to a corner shooter Orlando is willing to leave open. He swings it to a roll man who has never been the late clock answer. The historical anchor matters here. 24 turnovers across games 2, 3, and 4. The worst 3-game playoff stretch for any player in 49 NBA seasons. That is the Carter administration, pre-3-point line, 49 years of postseason data. Cunningham is making the right read. The right read is not a good shot for Detroit. That is not a discipline failure. That is a structural failure. Orlando seizes a 2-1 series lead. The top seed walks into Game 4 in a do-or-die posture. The chalkboard reveal is this: Cunningham is not failing. Orlando is winning a structural argument that Detroit cannot answer. The number is the record. The roster is the cause. 49 seasons. That is how far back you have to go to find a player committing turnovers at this rate in a 3-game playoff window. The number is not Cade Cunningham failing. The number is the chalkboard. Orlando counted to 1. Then they sent the second defender. Then they sent the third. Game 4, April 27th, Orlando. 8 turnovers. 7 made field goals on 23 attempts. That is the Cade Cunningham line in Game 4. Final score, Orlando 94, Detroit 88. Desmond Bane led Orlando with 22 points. The 8 seed took a 3-1 series lead over the top seed. The cumulative Game 2 through Game 4 turnover total reaches 24, the threshold that anchors the 49-year claim. Cunningham's individual three-game playoff turnover total now sits in a historically bad postseason cohort that includes a small number of LeBron James playoff stretches. That is the company the record keeps. Game 4 is not a regression. It is a confirmation. Orlando did not invent a new look. They ran the same load-up they ran in Game 2. They ran the same three-defender swarm they ran in Game 3. Cunningham still could not solve it. The reason he could not solve it is the same reason he could not solve it before. The Detroit roster has not changed. The secondary creators are still not threats. The corner shooters are still not making Orlando pay. The roll men are still not finishing through traffic. 8 turnovers on 7 made field goals is a stat shape that almost only happens to ball-dominant guards trying to do everything against a defense designed to reward exactly that effort. It is the signature of a load-up. It is also the signature of a top seed running out of answers. The 8 seed beating the top seed 3-1 in a first-round series is not the headline of this episode. The headline is how. Orlando did not out-talent Detroit. Orlando out-designed a roster. Same player, same roster, new defense. So here is the question the data is forcing. Is Cade Cunningham a primary creator who melts in the playoffs, or is he the most trapped guard in 50 years of postseason basketball? The honest steel man, and we have to take it seriously, sounds like this. Cunningham is the best player on a top seed. He has been here all season. The rest of the roster did not change overnight. If Cunningham were truly an MVP caliber primary creator, he would solve a help rotation in 3 games. He is not solving it. That is on him. Stars solve it. He is not yet a star. That is the book the discourse is selling. On its own terms, it is reasonable. The problem is that a help rotation is solved by trusting the pass. Cunningham trusted the pass. The pass went to a corner shooter who is not making the shot. The pass went to a roll man who is not finishing through traffic. The pass went to a wing who is not the second creator the steel man assumes exists. Cunningham is making the right read. The right read is not a good shot for Detroit. That is not a Cunningham problem. That is a roster problem. Stars do not solve roster problems with their hands. They solve them by getting other primary scorers as teammates. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has Jalen Williams. Luka Doncic has Kyrie. Nikola Jokic has Jamal Murray. Cade Cunningham has nobody who scares Orlando into pulling a defender back, so Orlando keeps the second defender on him every possession. The 49-year record is the predictable downstream output of that imbalance. 3 more games of this defense will not change that math. So here is the verdict. Cade Cunningham is not the worst playoff turnover guard in 50 years. He is the most trapped playoff guard in 50 years. There is a difference. Detroit's front office spent the regular season celebrating one elite creator. They ignored the part where the playoffs reward 2. Orlando, the 8th seed, identified the gap on the second day of the series. They have run the same defense for 3 straight games. 24 turnovers later, the chalkboard has its answer. There are 3 structural failures stacked under that record. Failure 1, the load-up. Orlando sends the second defender before the screen arrives. Cunningham cannot get a clean look at the rim. Failure 2, the tag. Orlando rotates the third defender off the corner shooter Detroit cannot make pay. The pocket pass dies. Failure 3, the roster. Detroit has no off-ball creator who scares the help rotation back. The structural answer never arrives. 3 failures, 1 player carrying all of them. Orlando did not break Cade Cunningham. Orlando broke the assumption that one elite creator is enough to win a playoff series in 2026. The chalkboard caught up. The chalkboard always does. Game 5 is in Detroit, April 29th. The top seed is 1 loss from a first-round elimination unprecedented for a team of its regular season caliber. The Pistons have 48 hours to find a second creator who does not exist on their roster. Orlando has 48 hours to do the same thing they have done for 3 games. Whose chalkboard runs out of answers first? Next episode of Chalk Tactics, we go inside the rotation that has the league's longest active winning streak and ask whether the data backs the discourse. Until then,